welcome back. This is my series on how to start your novel, and today I just want to take you into my world on my journey and show you where I am in my novel. So basically, to recap, my novel is a sequel. So it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's easier for me because I know kind of the characters and things like that already, but I just completed the first book and I'm going to start the sequel right away. So I'm still getting to know the characters, even though I just wrote a book about them. There are brand spanking new characters in this book, and I am really trying hard to get to know them. And so this is something new that I'm writing. So I'm a little nervous. Like I said, I just did the first draft of the book before this one, and so that one's not out yet. It's still in the editing phase. So I'm a little nervous because I'm working on a sequel and I have no idea if the first one is actually going to work just yet. So a little bit nervous because it's something new that I'm trying. And that's okay. Trying something new is fine. I think that makes for really good books when you go outside the box and try something different. I discussed that in my video about genre and things like that. Trying something new and, you know, basically just throwing yourself to the wolves, I guess. So also, I just wanted to recap exactly what I do when I start my novels. So one of the first things I do is I brainstorm, of course. I do a little brainstorm session with myself, and I get a couple pieces of paper and a pen, and I just write down what I think should happen, what I want to happen, just ideas that I'm having about that book. And I write them down because they stick with you when you write them down. Plus, as a writer and somebody who just have brain farts all the time, I think that's the correct term. Somebody who just can't remember my ideas right away. Like they sound good in the shower, or they sound good while I'm sleeping, dreaming about them, and then when I wake up I can't remember anything. So while I remember, I try to write it down, even if that means getting up in the middle of the night and writing those ideas down. I do a little brainstorming session with myself. After that, I basically move on to outlining. And I know in my first video about outlining, I really went in depth into outlining, but I wanted to get more into my own personal outlining. So I literally outline, and I don't know if everybody does this, but for me personally, I outline every single chapter. I go through the entire book. So the entire book has to be basically in an outline before I get started writing. And so this is my outline, and I just want to show you how thick it is and how in-depth it is. So basically, yeah, and it's front and back too. And this is every chapter, and I've completed it, which I know I was gonna update that I actually finished it. And right now it is, I have 54 chapters. So, and that's the entire, this is the entire book. This is everything. Of course, some things might change. And as I was outlining and get into previous, other chapters, I start to write in the margins and things like that. And I'm pretty organized, so I like to, type it up a little bit and then go crazy with the writing in the margins and things like that. But it is complete, and I am excited because it was a little bit of a struggle, and it's always a little bit of a struggle going through the entire book, making sure that every chapter flows into the next chapter and that you have a good ending and that you have a good beginning, and that going through that it's a hard process, but it's so worth it once you start writing. It makes writing to me a little easier. After I outline and complete my outline, I like to then start on the first chapter. It's a prologue in my book. The first chapter is a prologue. So, and I know not a lot of people like those and not a lot of people do them, but I haven't had any problems with people who read my books that they like them. I love them because I feel like it's one of the most exciting chapters that I get to write. So I basically before I write the chapter, I go through another brainstorming session and to figure out exactly what I want characters to say. And that goes to character development and things like that I've already discussed before in previous videos. So I go into that and I just really try to dig deep into myself and see what I want the characters to say, ideas. I talked about that in another video about how I just really just pour out all the ideas and things that I have for that character. Basically, I do that, and it can take a while because as a writer, one of the things that we try to avoid is writing. At least this writer right here, it sounds weird. I love to write, but for some reason, I always found something else to do other than write. Washing clothes, I'm helping kids with homework. Even when the kids are gone all day, I'm finding other things to do. Feed the cats. I mean, even though they've already been fed, like I'm just going on my way to like cleaning baseboards, like things that I don't necessarily have to do, but I'm feeling like I need to do them because I'm so stuck on feeling incomplete. I think that's the feeling. You feel incomplete when you're not writing, but you might get stuck. And so you try to find other activities to make you feel not useless in the time being. But yeah, so I try to sometimes it takes me a day, sometimes it takes me a couple days, and sometimes it takes me a week just to get all those ideas down. But once I do get all those ideas down, and like I said, I write, I'm freehand, longhand, I write basically just with a pen and paper. And to make it fun, I write with different color papers sometimes too, and different color pens. So just so it won't be so boring. But to me, that's how I can get my ideas out better. I can't stand staring in front of a computer and not just at a blank screen, and my eyes hurt and everything. And I'm much more comfortable doing it longhand. Yeah, so once I get all my ideas down, then I start to write the chapter. I take all those ideas and I basically kind of storyboard them and put them in order and make sure that they all fit. And that's what I just completed, like literally like yesterday. I just completed my first chapter. So it's, as you can see, it's not typed up yet because I just haven't gotten to that part yet. But it will be, like, I think my goal is to do that tomorrow or Sunday. I say tomorrow or Sunday because today is Friday that I'm making this video. But I actually do prefer to do a lot of my writing and a lot of typing up stories and things like that on Sunday. I'll do it Sunday morning when everybody's still asleep. I wake up, get some coffee, and knock it out. And I really like to do that. So right now I'm just on the first chapter, which is the prologue, and I haven't begun chapter 2 yet. So my next step would be, once I get this typed up, then I would do basically the idea thing for the next chapter, which is chapter 1. For me, is chapter 1. And I'll start doing all of the basically idea things again, writing it down, getting it together, getting all that done and down. And what I've observed in my years of writing novels is that for me, the very first chapter, whether it's chapter 1 or a prologue or something like that, the very first chapter for me is always the hardest. And that's why this one has been taking me forever to write, because it's the most, I feel like I have to be very intricate. I have to make sure I get my ideas down, because this is the first chapter that they're going to read in your book. They could read chapter 1 and just be completely turned off from the entire novel. So chapter 1, just like every other chapter, you want it to be a page turner. You want them, once they finish that chapter, want to go to the next chapter. But I feel like chapter 1, as well as the very last chapter, for me, are the hardest to write, because I feel like I have to take more of my time. I have to make sure everything's perfect. I have to make sure that I say everything that I need to say, because chapter 1 sets it up and chapter 2 gets you to that resolution. And sometimes for me, I know I don't always like to leave a resolution. It's a resolution, but it's not. I like to leave a little curveball at the end. That's just how I write. Like, you know, I I like excitement in my writing, and I try to make sure that it's some suspense, and on top of it being an erotic romance. So, like I said, that's where I am now. Just to recap for you, I finished my outline. I finished writing chapter 1. I have to type up chapter 1. And sometimes things change a little bit when I type it up. Like as I'm reading through it, I might find things that are, I'm like, hey, I want to add an extra paragraph, or I want to take out a paragraph. That happens. But for the most part, this is chapter 1. I just need to type it up. Typing up chapters on the computer is, I would say, out of everything, it's one of the things I loathe the most. I'm like, I need to find somebody where I can just write it up and let them type it up. The only reason why I don't do that is because, like I said before, I tend to change things or rearrange things or add things as I'm typing it up. So I feel like that I need to do that myself, but I so hate it. I hate it, you know, to the bone. If you have any questions, leave that in the comment section, and subscribe, share this video, hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified of any new videos that I have going on. The next video will probably be about a recap of where I'm at in my novel. Hopefully I'll be beyond chapter 2, but yeah, I'm not going to be that optimistic. I'm just going to go with the flow. I don't want to overwhelm myself. I just want to write and go with the flow. Make sure that it's really good for my readers. So that's a good tip, is to make sure that you don't rush through this, that you don't just rush through a novel because you want to get it out there really, really quickly. You want to make sure that it's good, because I think that's another problem, another pitfall that a lot of writers do, is that they get overwhelmed by the demand for the next novel or a new novel from their readers, and then they end up giving readers subpar work. And that is a reflection on you for your whole writing career. So, just another little bit of advice. So, yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and share. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm all over social media. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.